All right, welcome to the inaugural episode of the UNK Hour. And I'm very excited to be bringing you this show. My name is Angelo McCourse. You guys know me as Cognitive Native on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, everybody's favorite uncle, Cognitive Native on TikTok. Please look me up if you don't know. I thank each and every one of you for joining the YouTube channel to be with us here this evening. And the UNK Hour is focused on growth mindset, healthy lifestyle, and positive mental attitude. Because when you're empowered with these tools and this knowledge, you're able to overcome everyday adversities of life. Let's get to work. Let's put in the work to build a solid foundation to create the life we want instead of just maintaining the life that we have. And so the UNK Hour is sponsored by the Bison Star Naturals body care brand. We make clean, natural, and organic shampoos, conditioner, soap, lotion. So please go visit bisonstarnaturals.com to see our clean line of body care, as well as all the other goodies that we have to offer. That's a way that you could support the UNK Hour, as well as treat yourself to some self-care, which is very important and often overlooked. So for some awesome products that won't break the bank, but that'll give you lots of happiness, keep you feeling fresh, focused, clean, look up bisonstarnaturals.com. So today's current events, just to kind of kick off our segment, one segment of the show, is stock indexes are at an all-time high. So if you don't care about stocks, you don't care about finance, you don't care about money, I would highly suggest that you start learning about that as soon as possible, because it's one thing to know what money is, it's one thing to know what you use money for, which is money is what makes the world go around. That's how you pay to live, that's how you eat, that covers your cell phone bill, that takes care of your clothes, your kids. Money just makes the world go around. But as soon as you start thinking about money in a way where it's a tool rather than just a part of life that you're subject to, that's when you can start really taking financial literacy seriously, and you can make some leaps and bounds in your own personal wealth building process. And that's part of why UNK Hour is here to kind of put these real thoughts into practice and to give you pathways about, number one, how to think about financial literacy, number two, tools and pathways about how to implement financial literacy ideas that we'll be exploring throughout the series. And so back to the current events is, stock markets are at all-time high. I get my news from, Twitter, or X as they call it now. I see a lot of reels on TikTok. I see my algorithm is filled with finance, self-improvement, entrepreneurial lifestyle, growth mindset, positive mental attitude, all those kind of like productive and helpful types of content, because everybody knows you can doom scroll to your heart's content and find out all the bad things that are happening with this world and here in our current times. But there's also the ability to use social media and this information age as a tool, not just like entertainment. It's so crazy how people always use the internet as entertainment these days when it was first designed to be a tool. So now we can have all this edutainment, is what I like to call it. I think I've heard that somewhere, but edutainment, where you could learn how to live the perfect life, how to become a millionaire, how to be successful at relationships, anything you want to do, right? All the information's out there, just the same as with the UNK Hour. But like, if you listen to all that stuff and you don't apply it to your life after you learn that knowledge, is that really knowledge? Is that really a tool? Or were you just being entertained? So you have to be careful about your social media diet and your information consumption, because if you're not careful, the things that seem like you're learning from can just become entertainment, and then you'll never apply it to your life, and then all the lessons are lost, all the time investment for you to pay attention to all that knowledge and information and tools. If you don't apply it to your life, at that point it just becomes edutainment, and then that's on you because you're not taking action, you're just being a spectator. And in this game of life, you have to be on the field playing the game in order to win. You can't just be a spectator sitting on the sideline, because everybody knows those spectators. They love to cheer the loudest, scream the loudest, tell the players on the field exactly what they should be doing and what's wrong and how to do it. But are they on the field? Do they have a chance to win? No. So don't find yourself on the sidelines of life. Get into the game. Financial literacy is a big part of the game that we're all trying to play. We're all trying to figure out. We're all trying to get ahead. So that way we can enjoy the access to everything that we have in this world, all the opportunities in life, and that includes travel, that includes being able to give your kids access to the things that you didn't have when you were growing up. Money just equals access, and it's really important to be able to have access to the things that matter to you. Having access, having enough money to go buy fast food every day, that's not healthy, right? But having the money to be able to get your kids into whatever sports they want to play, or for you as an individual to have a gym membership that you can work out and enjoy your time to invest in your health. Those are great things, right? Those are positive uses of money and investing your time and energy. But of course, there's always ways to use money where it goes against your health, against your mindset. And what's really scary is everybody now is living on debt. And so the majority of people have credit card bills that are super high. Like the average household credit card bill, that's just a consumer bill. It's not even for like a mortgage or a vehicle or anything like that. This is just consumer debt on shoes, Jordans, going out to eat at Benihana's, and going to concerts and all this different stuff. Each household has multiple thousands of dollars in debt that they owe, and that they just keep stacking on, and that number keeps going higher and higher, because even though that this stock market's at all-time highs, it's the wealthy people who have been investing over the last 10, 15 years that are reaping the benefits of these all-time highs now, because they're selling, while us people who don't know about stocks and about building a portfolio and having that as an asset, we're barely hearing about it these days. Why? Because we are going to get suckered into buying all-time highs at a stock market, and everybody's going to be saying, oh, this is the best time to buy, everything's at an all-time high. You're going to rush in there, you're going to put your money in there, and then in a few years, that high is going to experience a normal fluctuation where it's going to go all the way down, and there'll be a crash, and everybody who sold at the top is waiting for that crash so they could buy at the bottom, and everybody who bought at the top because they heard on CNBC, on the news, all their friends telling them, all social media telling them they should buy stocks, they're going to lose value in their stock. And then in a few years, when they're at the bottom, they should be thinking about doubling down, continuing to build that portfolio. They're going to be like, oh my God, I lost so much money all the way down. I'm not going to do this no more. I'm going to sell at a loss and then just save my money and do whatever with it. And the people who are smart, they're going to be buying the low prices continuously for the next 10 or 15 years until we reach generational all-time highs again. And so I'm just kind of giving you this picture to think about, because the last time that stocks were at these kind of all-time high levels was all the way back in like 2008, during right before the great financial crisis, for the housing market hit, where institution like Bear Stearns and like the Lehman Brothers and those guys had to go belly up because they had all these really bad housing products that they put onto the market and made everybody buy, and they got over leveraged and they couldn't pay their debts. And so what happened? Oh, good old Uncle Sam came in and bailed everybody out, and that's what kind of triggered the mandatory mass inflation that we're all currently experiencing. But anyway, I love finance. Finance is a big part of my journey in this life, because I've, as an entrepreneur, have learned how to generate an income for myself and my family on my own terms with my own small business. My wife and I are in a partnership with the business. We own it 50-50. We make all of our financial decisions together. We run this business solely. Her and I operate this business with the help of our kids, but they just like to reorganize. And our daughter Judy, she's 9, and she likes to spend the money and tell us what we should do with it. But anyway, that's why I'm so on the soapbox right now about finance, because it's just of utmost importance. And I have a great little outline here for the show, but I know I'm already going off script. I know I'm already going down rabbit holes, but that's just because I'm so excited about what this podcast, or I'm going to call it a podcast, but I'll call it what this show is here to do, which is to give information, give knowledge and tools to be able to help people my age, younger people, and hopefully even some folks older than myself, to help them learn about how to utilize knowledge and tools to create the life they want, instead of just, being subject to the life that they have and that they've created. And a lot of times people create their life based out of like scarcity mentality, where they just need to survive, and they live for today and they don't really think about the future. And it's because they're limited by the amount of income they make, or we all grow up in areas, and we grow up around people sometimes in our life that just plant these ideas in our head about how if you're poor you'll always be poor, or like how life is so hard, or how certain luxuries or things in life are inaccessible, or you can't afford to do those things, or you shouldn't be wasting your money on something like travel or whatever. We always just have all these people that have like a real scarcity mindset, where they just express all of the lack, and they express all the fears that they have, and they let their lack and their fear control what they say. And unfortunately, they're not enlightened enough to see that when you're an elder in a community or in a family, if you have these types of thought patterns based on scarcity and lack, you just let your statements rip without thinking about the consequences and effects they'll have on the kids that hear you, the grandkids that hear you, other young community members that hear you. And then those seeds of doubt get planted in the youth, and then those youth kind of just let those seeds grow without realizing that they don't have to let those seeds of lack and of doubt grow within themselves. They can learn new ways of living, new ideas of looking at life, and creating an abundance mentality where you can benefit and learn from all these things that you heard growing up were bad for you. And it sucks. Sometimes that's just how it is. Like if you grow up in a poor community, or if you grow up in a real traditional community that's closed off to the outside world, you'll have a lot of folks in leadership positions, telling you what you can and can't do, when they've never really been out in the world to test their limits and to test their capacity to see what they can and can't do. They just kind of make all these assumptions. And if you come from a small rural or traditional community, or a real traditional family where the heads, the eldest of the family, have the last say and the ultimate right, you kind of just listen to them, and you kind of just go with it, and you kind of just live your life without realizing that programming and that they set into you kind of sets your life trajectory in a certain way. But that's what the UNK Hour is here for you, because the UNK Hour is here to tell you that there are alternatives, there are different ways of living, there are tools, knowledge, and experiences that you can chase, and then that you can set as goals and achieve to help you grow your outlook on life and have a more positive, healthy, optimistic outlook where you're empowered and where you're capable and where you don't have only the people around you guiding you and telling you what you ought to, what you need to, what you should think, what you should be, how you should live your life and act. And all those things are valuable. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that those closest to you and those around you don't know what they're talking about. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you, whoever you're listening to, are they where you want to be? Have they done the things that you want to do? And if the answer is yes, then that's great. By all means, take what they have to say and apply it to your life. But if they haven't, and you are thinking about dreams and goals far beyond anybody and anything in your community or where you're at, this is for you, because the UNK Hour is designed to empower you with all these ideas, tools, knowledge to be able to create the life you want, even if it's completely different from the life you grew up in and where you started out. Because I feel like I am nothing like a lot of my peers and community members, and like, I used to be of the camp that it's good to just, learn from those around you and to be able to try to emulate the ones who you think are the top dogs or the most successful. But, at the end of the day, I just was able to kind of travel outside of my own community for various circumstances and reasons that we'll get into in this series and further episodes when I start telling my story and how I came to be who I am today. But because I was able to get exposure to the outside world other than my own little tribal community, I learned that this world is vast, and I learned that there's a lot of abundance in this world for success, for wealth, for life, for love, for happiness, and that we don't just have to be defined by where we were born, who our family is, what clan we are, and what we believe in a religious sense. Like, all those things are very valuable. They hold a lot of sacred and humble places in my life. But at the same time, I'm not just going to let those things make me ignore the whole rest of the world. And it's kind of funny, I named this the UNK Hour because, the UNK, your uncle, is somebody who can talk to you and tell you about life in a way where it's not your parents trying to guide you, right? It's not your grandparents trying to set your framework of, moral standards and what life is like and about and whatever, right? Your UNK is somebody you can have fun with. You can ask the hard questions that your parents and your grandparents and your leadership in your family or your community shy away from, right? UNK is going to give you a real and kind of unfiltered experience and life lessons based on, what he's done himself, what he's accomplished, what he's achieved. And thankfully, this UNK right here, I've left my community at a young age, even though I was traditionally ingrained, and, I know my language to, not fluent, but to a good extent, enough to participate in my culture and my religion and cultural traditions, and to communicate with my people. And I left to complete my education. So I've been college educated. I have a couple degrees, one in ag sciences, one in business administration. I was able to go find a partner that's outside of my own community. So I am in a mixed relationship. My wife, I found her up in Colorado, and we fell in love at first sight. It was like we're soulmates, and we found each other, which I'm super blessed. And that was at a young, ripe age of 18 years old. But, when you're together with your best friend and your soulmate, that time that we've spent seems like the blink of an eye. And now we've been together longer in our life than we haven't been. So that's a beautiful thing. We've been together now for, I want to say like 18 years. And with that, we have 3 beautiful children. We have twin boys. We have a daughter. And we've been able to build a lifestyle where we created a business together. We worked hard every single day with love in our hearts, optimism in our eyes, and unwavering faith and determination that we'd be able to make it. And, at first you have to almost trick yourself. I hate that saying that says you got to fake it till you make it, because like, dude, those days you're not faking it. You're like really trying to like find reasons why to continue forward, find reasons why you're doing what you're doing. And in the route of entrepreneurship and creating your own life and taking your income into your own hands, you go from a 40-hour-a-week job to a 24/7-hour-a-week job where every 2 weeks your paycheck is determined and based on your actions towards your business. And that's entrepreneurship in a nutshell, is just taking your life into your hands. And yeah, you work a lot more, but what's really cool is you get a priority of time, in that you can choose what you want to do with your time, how much you want to work, how little you want to work, and there's no cap on how much you can earn, what your income potential is, what your revenue potential is. You're kind of in control of all those levers, and the main lever you're in control of is your effort. So the more effort and the more work that you turn up, it will result in you getting more sales and you having your business grow, therefore you at the end of the day being able to net more income. And so entrepreneurship is really important. Family is really important to me. My community, my culture, work ethic, morality, love, all those things are really important to me. And I feel like the UNK Hour is a way for me also to give back, because I didn't have any father figures in my life. When I was 8.5 years old, my dad was sent off to prison, and I had a nice little family unit. My dad, my mom, myself, everything was like a dream. It was great until the day that my dad was sent off to prison. And I'll get into those details of what happened there in future episodes down the line, but that's just a fact about my life that really set me off into a course of becoming independent and growing up really quickly after that happened, because I kind of had to forge my way in this life and find out what it meant to be a man on my own, and find out what masculinity is from a bunch of different father figures I've had in my life, that we're going to end up talking about all of them throughout this series. But what that allowed me to do was, not having a father around allowed me to quickly see what was right and see what was wrong about my life, to see what I have and what I didn't have. And unfortunately, I started freaking from the dirt, bro. I started coming out of the adobes of Taos Pueblo with nothing, dude. Like, yes, I had a home. Yes, there was a roof over my head. Yes, it was warm. Yes, I had clothes. Yes, I had food. But like, dude, I didn't, there was like no family vehicle, so I couldn't participate in school sports or extracurricular activities. There was like no extra money to travel. Like, I live in Taos, New Mexico, and traveling to me was, oh, we're going to Albuquerque to go buy school clothes, once a year before the beginning of the school year. And I was like, oh, cool, we're traveling, but like, no travel. We always ate at home, and like eating out was like a Happy Meal or something. And like, I'm not complaining. Like, that's great. That's better than, 90% of the world at the time, as far as like comforts, clean water, food, shelter, clothing, and being able to freaking go get a Happy Meal and like, play with your friends and, have a hand-me-down bike that's Frankenstein, you know what I mean? And just all these things, right? You're a kid, you don't really know what the haves and have-nots have or don't have. But, once my dad went off to prison, that's when times got tough. And that's when I had to really start thinking about what I did have and what I didn't have, and how to make up for that, and how to start being able to generate some money for myself to be able to have the things that I wanted. Because, single mother, and her having to raise me, and her having to go through the things that she went through, just to make sure that all the ends met and we were taken care of. It was like something that's we're definitely going to get into in detail, and I have so much to talk about with all of that. But the idea is, growing up early, it isn't a bad thing. It's like the reason why I am who I am. I feel like I'm in a leadership position because of all the things I've accomplished, and it's my turn to give back to the younger people and people my age, because we can still think about our lives and what went wrong or what went right, but we can be graceful and thankful for what is today. And if I can share any of these experiences that I've been through, good or bad, for the young people in the generations coming up to benefit from, I think I'm doing my job. Because a lot of the stuff we'll talk about here is going to be things that you can actively do to improve your life starting at a young age. Or we're also going to have lessons in the different shows to talk about, things you can avoid, red flags to watch out for. Because you may be operating in environments where you think everything is all good, but that's just because you're not critically looking at how your community is being run, how the leadership in your life is showing you what life is. And, of course, when you're young, you're going to take everybody's word for gospel. Like, the people you love the most are the people you grew up with and the people you spent the most time around. But that just because you love them doesn't mean that they're good people. It doesn't mean that they know it all. It doesn't mean that they're giving you right advice. So my challenge for you guys is just to take account of your life. Look at where you live. Be brutally honest. Look at all the harsh truths about your people, your family, your community, where you live, what you guys have, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. Look at these things critically and kind of just see where you're at in life, because this world is huge. And I'll tell you this right now, is you're fully capable of achieving any goal you set out to accomplish, and you're fully worthy of any dream that you have for yourself, and you're very capable to take the action steps every single day to see those dreams and goals to fruition, because you're designed to overcome challenges. You're designed to take life by the horns, and you're strong enough to hold on and ride that bull as far as you want to go, in whether that's financially, whether that's professionally, whether that's personally, spiritually. I mean, even if you want to be a bodybuilder or a scientist or an artist, you're fully capable of all of it. And that's what we're here to talk about here at the UNK Hour, is everything that life has to offer, and how to get there. But of course, I'll be weaving in storytelling. I'll be weaving in experiences from life that I've had that were very impactful, special moments, so it's just going to be a fun show where Uncle can talk to you on a real level. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to try to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you what's best. I'm just going to tell you what I've done, what I've seen, what I've accomplished, and how I did it, and what direct action steps I've took to accomplish and achieve levels of success that I've seen in my life. And so that's what the UNK Hour is for. It's just a solid time for us to sit down, talk about life. It's really cool because I'll be shouting out small businesses. I'll be introducing special guests as the show develops and goes on. And I have a really great network from the business that I've built with my wife, and we've traveled all over the country meeting all sorts of entrepreneurs and very notable people. And I have a nice Rolodex. And for you kids who don't know what a Rolodex is, it's my network. I have a great network. Today everybody's in your phone and on your who follows you, who follows me type of thing. But back in the day, you used to write everybody's contact information down and put it in this Rolodex where you could refer to them later. And anyway, I'm aging myself by saying that, but what I'm really proud of is building that network over all this time has so much value, not only for me, but now for you guys, because in the UNK Hour, we'll be asking other entrepreneurs and notable successful people what they think is important for you guys to be paying attention to and learning about, and how you guys ought to be positioning yourselves to have the highest odds and probability of success, because that's all I'm here for, man. I love you guys. I want to see you guys successful. I want to be proud of you guys, and I know that you guys have this superpower within yourself that maybe you've harnessed it and you're holding it and you know how to utilize it and wield it. Maybe you haven't discovered it yet, but I'll tell you right now, every single one of you guys has something special inside you that hopefully the UNK Hour can help you find, refine, develop, and eventually be able to unleash on the world to get what you want out of this lifetime. Because that's what it's about. You know, we have to be looking out for each other. We have to think about each other. We have to truly, genuinely care about each other. And one of the ways that I know how to do that is by sharing information, sharing experience, sharing knowledge. You know, all those things are overlooked, and a lot of the times people don't achieve high levels of success and understanding because they never leave home, because they never care to look beyond survival for the day. What am I eating tonight? Can I pay my bills this month? Like, you know, life is in such a weird time that people, you know, are barely trying to survive in this new age of money, and this new age of where you can no longer be self-sufficient, meaning, like, you know, my ancestors from my tribal community were agrarian farmers, and that was life. It was hard, but it was simple. So like I was saying, in this day and age, it's not as simple as just living in a small community and everybody growing your own food and maintaining your own water supply and hunting and providing and protecting and all of that. It was a smaller microcosm, simple world. Everybody had a role to play. It was easier in that sense, but it was still a hard life, low life expectancy. But in this day and age, it's all about money. Cash rules everything around me. Got to be able to have a job and pay for rent, pay for bills, pay for food, pay for clothing, you know, all of that. And so that's why we have to look out for each other. We have to make sure that we share our knowledge, share our experience. Any tips, tricks, hacks, all of that life experience, it shouldn't be like gatekept. You know, I don't like gatekeepers. They annoy me so bad. Like, if you're successful, every really truly successful person I've ever met, they're willing to give me all the game, like just lay it on you. They'll tell you how they started, where they went, what they did, who they talked to, you know, what money they made, everything you need to know. All that to say, we're here to help each other grow. So UNK Hour is a resource, is a tool for you guys. Watch it, enjoy it, interact with the show. Let me know what small businesses you guys like. Let me know what topics and subjects you want to hear about. I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to talk about everything. Good, bad, ugly, truths, lies that we've all been subscribing to and adhering to. All these different things about life. I mean, we're going to talk about food, we're going to talk about education, we're going to talk about working out, fitness. We're just going to talk about everything. Like, so whatever your interests are, if you hear something that I say, please feel free to give me your perspective. Let me know what you think, because at the end of the day, we're here to learn together. Nobody's knows everything. Uncle isn't perfect. I don't know everything. I do know some stuff that will help you along, but mostly I'm here to just be that resource for experience and to be able to learn and to be able to grow, most importantly, because if you're able to look at life in a positive, optimistic scope or a positive, optimistic lens, doing the work that's really hard and taking the actions that are difficult becomes easier because of your mindset. And a lot of the times people are just down in the dumps, and so there's no motivation or inspiration to get up and get out and take action. So that's why the UNK Hour is here. And I appreciate you guys for joining me in this first episode. I know it's not a full hour. I'm actually shooting this in my workshop, so I'll just take you guys around for a second. But this is the workshop. It's Bison Star Naturals. We make all sorts of body care. We make hair care, shampoo, conditioner. We make liquid soap here. We do bar soaps. Our most popular products are our lotions. We do them in travel size and full size. Lavender is really popular. Sage pine is great. You can stay sacred all day. We have cedar here. We have an unscented variety. We do bath salts, teas, honey. These are awesome Huggy Bears that my Uncle Jason makes. Earrings, smudge sticks. We do gift sets. We have a refill station for all of our customers. We even have merch like women's tanks. We have men's tanks in turquoise. We've won the best of Taos in 23. But anyway, like I was saying, we are actually, I'm shooting the first UNK Hour podcast here in our store. So I am just walking through. This is our full space. We also just expanded to have another full workshop over here, and I'll show you guys all of this and more in future episodes. But anyway, I love you all. I wish you all the best. You have it within you to win, to succeed. Sometimes you just need a little push, and that's what the UNK Hour is here for. So let me know what you guys think. I'll be talking about all things relevant to growth, success, and abundance. And the show will get more structure as we go along the way. As you can see, I had a nice structure for the show, all laid out. Everything was looking good, plenty of notes. I had everything, but of course, I veered off of course, and now I'm just continuing to talk wherever my mind goes. But as the show develops, we'll have more structure, and I'm always refining, always growing myself. Can't wait to see where this goes. So if you guys are interested in anything Bison Star Naturals, just visit bisonstarnaturals.com. I'll put the link in the description of this video and in my bio for YouTube. Please follow me, Cognitive Native, on Instagram, YouTube. It's Cognitive88 YouTube, but Cognitive Native on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and I do have Angelo McCourse on X. That's my X profile, so you can check me out there. I don't really post that much there. It's mostly for news, current events and whatnot. A lot of like digital asset related content, financial literacy content is what I get from there. But anyway, my tip for you guys for this video is if you are 18, between the ages of 18 and 25, I encourage you guys, and I wish somebody told me this when I was your age, but please start yourself a Roth IRA. That's a Roth individual retirement account. You could go to Vanguard.com. That's where I opened mine at. you could put up to $7,500 a month into a year into that investment product. And if you're 18, you put $7,500 into it and forget about it. By the time that you're my age, you'll already have 5 or 6 figures in there just waiting for you from the compound interest from that initial investment. It only takes $1,000 to open. So if you're between the ages of 18 and 25, with your $1,000 that you get, if you're graduating and you rake it in and everybody gives you money, don't go buy new Jordans and a shitbox car, or don't go finance a vehicle that you're going to be in debt for because that's a liability. Use $1,000, whether you work for it, whether you're gifted it, whatever you do. It only takes $1,000 to go open your Roth IRA from Vanguard.com. Invest in an index fund. Once you open up that IRA, have automatic withdrawals if you have direct deposit from your paycheck. But all I'm saying is, guys, if somebody would have told me to open a Roth IRA when I was your age, fuck yeah, I'd be a millionaire, dude, by the time I'm like 45. And man, I wish there's just these things that you don't ever learn coming from small rural communities where people don't care about economic development or financial education or nothing like that, because everybody's in survival mode. But there's ways to put away little bits of your money now that you'll thank yourself later, so you can travel the world and provide for your kids and grandkids. And you might even do it so big that you'll become a philanthropist and give to your favorite charities and support in that kind of way. And so that's my tip for this episode. Roth IRA, if you're at any age. I opened my Roth IRA at 35 years old, so you're never too old. And that's only because I started making money, so I had to learn what to do with it. But anyway, I love you guys. Wish you strength and endurance. Thank you for joining the UNK Hour. I hope you gained some value out of this. I know it was just a really intro heavy, why am I doing this type situation. But if you have any questions about me, if you have any questions about the show, if you have any questions about what I said, please interact in the comments. Feel free to message me on any of the social media platforms I mentioned above. I'm really happy and appreciative for all the subscribers that came out when I made that call to action. And I really appreciate and love you guys, and I can't wait to see what this evolves into. So always remember, UNK loves you. You guys have a beautiful evening.